Yes.
Yes, everyone?
We're getting it.
Okay.
Yes. Oh,
Well, you didn't hear all of our great
So
comments.
we're going to have to do it all over again. Check it out. We'll do the quick version. There you go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm right. You're right. I'm right. Yeah. We're doing it all over again, really quick.
And you know who we are. So we were talking that tonight we have a special guest. We'll be talking about being single and living alone. And our stance was we were talking about back when, long time ago when we were both single. And Tony, you were saying that the stance for you about the best thing about being single and living alone for you
was being alone, because I'm a loner. So I like being alone. But what helped with that was that I'm happy with myself. So as long as I was happy with myself, I didn't need someone else to complete me. Someone else, like you, Jill, enhanced my life, made my life, even better. But my life was good, just by myself. So.
And before I give my stance, I want to thank everybody for telling us.
Yeah, thanks for that tip.
Because we could have gone the whole show and never knew that there was no volume. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, the married couple, Dave and Sam, for being here and for letting us know. Thank you, Ronaldo and Connie. Thank you for being here and letting us know. Thank you. Charlie, you can't hear us anymore? Charlie says he can't hear us, but can everybody else? Oh,
Charlie, you
that is not
right.
funny.
he
says, just kidding. Okay, all right. So my stance is that when I met Tony, I wasn't trying to get married at all. Like I was having fun. I was enjoying my life. My life is even better.
What were you doing, Jill,
my life is even better
having so much fun
with you. My life is even better with you. But to your point of enjoying your time, loving yourself and enjoying that time to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. So tonight we do not disagree on that.
Okay.
So why don't we get to our guest? We have a special guest. I'm so excited that she's here. It's like having a celebrity, everybody. So I'm glad we worked out all the audio problems before she came up, because I'm sure Dr. Kris Marsh will have so many gems to tell us tonight. Kris and I, that's Dr. Kris Marsh and I, have known each other almost 15 years. We met when I was assigned to interview her, and the interview went well and was great, but I really feel like I gained a friend. So Kris, I'm always grateful for that moment, for that assignment of talking with you. The audience, Kris is an award-winning scholar. She's a Fulbright scholar. She's been to South Africa as a result of that. She's had so many she's magnificent at all of her specialties, and there are so many that even people like Cameron Hall has had her on her show, talking about her book, which is called The Love Jones Cohort: Single and Living Alone in the Black Middle Class. And you've also talked, right, Kris, to Iyanla too?
Yes, I have.
About the book. So see, we're small beans compared to them. So Kris is a big deal. If it's what I'm trying to say, she's a big deal.
Yeah, and if you didn't hear me earlier because of the audio problems, just Google her. Google Dr.
There'll be pages and pages of all the things that she's done and been and said. Pages and pages. All right, welcome, Kris.
Now we'll let you. Yes, please.
Thank you so much for having me, Tony, and the other Jill. You'll have to find out why that is.
Why that is the case, that I'm the other Jill.
Yes. But it's such a pleasure to be with you this evening. And thank you so much for the kind words. They really do resonate with me. So thank you. And Jill, I really honestly do call you a friend. So I'm happy that you can hold that title and I can hold that title in your life. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, you have written a book, and again, I'm going to show it to everybody, called The Love Jones Cohort. So, for the people in the audience who may not understand the reference to Love Jones, let's start there. Why the
Yes.
Love Jones Cohort?
Right. It's really funny because one of my colleagues said, if you write a book with an interesting title, people will buy the book simply because of the title. So I didn't do it for people to buy books. It really does have a reference. So if we think of like the quintessential Black middle class family on TV, we often think about the Huxtables on The Cosby Show. But Love Jones, the movie, is when you start to see this demographic shift and a move to those that aren't married and don't have any children. So I wanted to pay respect to media for kind of seeing something that's happening in the literature, but then I also wanted to teach people a new term. So I'm a sociologist and a demographer, but as a demographer, cohort is a word that we use, and it means nothing more than a band of people. So I use my training as a demographer and I use my pop culture reference, and I came up with the Love Jones cohort.
Wonderful. So, another term that you came up with is the acronym SALA, which stands
Yes.
for.
SALA, it stands for single and living alone. Sometimes you'll see it stated as single adults living alone, but I really wanted to talk about people that were not married and didn't have any children. I want to understand what kind of lives they were living. There's always this conversation like, why aren't you getting married? I was like, that's a deficit model. So I really wanted to talk about what people are doing as singles or SALAs. So I wanted people who had never been married and didn't have any children. I wanted to understand more about their lifestyles. That's what the book is really trying to do.
And what did they tell you? Let's start with categories. So, involving like where to live if you're single and living alone.
Which is a really interesting conversation because not a lot of research really talked about like where singles live. So if we think about like parents with children, we kind of know that parents tend to try to maybe find certain areas based on the schools for their children and so on and so forth. We just did not know enough about people that are single and living alone and where they're choosing to live. So I did some quantitative work, but in the book, I actually asked people like, where'd you live? And it's funny because a lot of the people really talked about how they wanted to live in these suburban neighborhoods as well, because they were really savvy business people. And they were like, they want the best return on their investment. So if it's a suburban area, they're totally okay with that. The assumption is that these single folks wanted to live like in the cities, to have like a nightlife. And that didn't necessarily pan out in the data. Some did, but some were really savvy, like economically, and really wanted to make wise decisions about how to like sell their homes if they needed to, and where would be the best place to do that.
What about wealth and, gaining it, maintaining it, generational wealth, that kind of thing?
It's so funny because I talk about the book everywhere I go. And I was talking to this one young man and I was saying, oh, I wrote a book and I'm talking about like, when single people buy homes. And he was like, single people buy homes?
Yeah.
I had a house before I got married.
Yeah.
I was like, you absolutely need to read my book.
Yeah.
But I do think that is kind of like a general assumption. So I really wanted to talk about like how, as a single person, you think through that process and how was your process of buying a home. But also, if you're thinking about homes being like an asset, who are you going to transfer your wealth to? Typically, especially the social science literature, it talks about how parents transfer their wealth to children, or spouses transfer their wealth to another spouse. You have people who are solid middle class, they have assets. Some people in the cohort had precious metals and gold. I was like, I need to step my entire game up. But okay. So the question is, who and how are they going to transfer their wealth? That became a really important question to me. And so it's not this traditional way of transference, but you usually see in the cohort that they talked about transferring their wealth to children of friends or like a niece or a nephew. Mm-hmm. And some even gave to some of their social organizations, which is also really interesting as well.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Did you have a question?
I had several, but you blew me
this is
out
how
of the water.
I'm so excited to talk to Kris. I don't let Tony talk.
So I'm just going to sit back in my corner and be quiet. But but really, when I was single, I never gave a second thought to not buying a house. It never occurred to me that, oh, I'm single, I don't need a house. I was single, I bought a 4-bedroom house. And people would say, why did you do that?
Right.
because I
'Cause you
wanted a
wanted to?
house. It makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense. I never thought otherwise. I never thought of, oh, I'm going to move to a single community. Or something like a single apartment, where there's or a 1 bedroom apartment or a studio. It never crossed my mind, because I really was thinking stability
Yes.
and all of that. And whether I met Jill or not, I would still be living in the same house.
Right.
If I was in there by myself, okay,
Right.
cool.
Right. One of the other things that the cohort really talked about, they talked about owning homes, but they also talked about living in close proximity to friends, because friends
Hmm.
play a central role in the lifestyle of the Love Jones cohort and more broadly with single people. And so there's a group of women that said they all live within a 10-mile radius of each other to make sure that they can take care of each other. And the
Hmm.
reason why I think that this becomes really important is because people sometimes say like, oh, I don't want to be single. I don't want to die alone. And so they think that they need to get married. I'm like, that's probably the wrong reason to get married, but I
Yes.
digress. But, they have these friends that are really central. They play central characters in the lives of these people, of the Love Jones cohort. And they check in with them. They see how they're doing. They see what's going on. And they live very close to each other so that they can have like a support group within a 10-mile radius. And so friends were really, really, really important with how they even thought about where to buy homes and what neighborhoods to move into.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
would you say that's one of the biggest concerns is if you're single and living alone, that there won't be anyone there if you die, that you would die alone?
I do think that it is a big concern, but I think that that's fear that's just instilled in people. I think that's all by design. I think people are like, okay, you have to get married, you have to get married, you have to be partnered so that you don't die alone. I have a really interesting story. A friend of mine that I went to college with, his parents are married, and but they live separate lives. So he kind of hangs out in the basement. She kind of hangs out upstairs. The father had a heart attack downstairs, and the mother didn't know for days.
Oh
Oh,
no.
So just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that this
Gee.
person is going to be up under you the entire time anyway. And so you need to always have friends that you're checking in with. I appreciate my cell phone because you have like the location, like track your location on the phone. So a ton of my friends know where I am at any moment in time.
Hmm. Yeah,
that's
me, I'm more trying to hide. I don't know. I don't
he
want you to know where I'm
he
at.
tries to turn the tracker off.
But Tony, but you know what, Tony, to your point, it is really important that this is what is so baffling to me. And it's so baffling. People are like, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. I want to be in a relationship. And I'm like, if you can't be comfortable with yourself, if you can't be with yourself, why do you think someone else can be with you?
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
Excellent question.
right?
Yes.
I think I'm witty. I think I'm mildly funny. I think
Check.
I'm engaging. I enjoy
Check.
me. I absolutely enjoy spending time with me. Once you start to enjoy yourself, you can probably enjoy someone else in your space. But if you're like, I got to fill up the space because I don't want to be in the house by myself, you need to really
Right.
check like why you don't want to be in the house by yourself. Is it something about you? So I really appreciate Tony. You're like, I'm so incredibly content and happy. And that's really important for us to think about because just if you're not happy and you bring a person into that situation, you might find yourself one alone and then happy. And now you're in a whole situation with someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even when you find that person, let's say you do find a person that you have this committed relationship with, like for Jill and I, now we're not the couple where one lives in the basement and one lives upstairs and Jill doesn't know I died 3 days ago. That is not going to happen. But there are some days that we don't spend a whole lot of time together. And she's like, "What did you do?" I was listening to my music. I was doing yard work. I was doing this, but all the time I was listening to music and I'm having a great time. So I don't have to have Jill around all the time to have a great time. I'm all by myself. I'm just having a blast.
And this
Right.
audience has heard me speak often about how I just need space, my own little space.
Right.
They've heard me say that often.
But
Um,
And I also think too, it's like and I'm not married, so, but for married couples, and I'm just wondering, I do think it's important that we have like play dates with our friends, like getting back to the point about friends. There is some literature that talks about people that are never married, long-term never married, like myself. As we age, we can tend to be happier. Part of the reason why we can tend to be happier is because we have like a whole network. We have people that we can golf with. We have people we can go to church with. We have people that we can go to brunch with. A lot of different friends for a lot of different reasons. In some cases, I think not all cases, but in some cases, I think what happens with married folks is they put all their eggs in the marriage basket and they find themselves returning back to singlehood, and they have forsaken their friends. And so they don't know how to navigate. So they
don't have any more friends.
So, but it's funny because like sometimes like, oh, you can't hang out with married folks, can't hang out with single people. I was like, get yourself some friends, married friends, single friends, get some friends because then you're not going to, I would hope that y'all always stay together, but you might not always be together. And if you find yourself returning back to singlehood because of returning back to singleness because widowed, separation, or divorce, how do you navigate your life? So it's really important that we think about friends, regardless if we're solos or regardless if we're in the Love Jones cohort.
Well, speaking of friends, people have been commenting about what they thought you were going to give them, Tony. So this first comment is from Charlie, and Charlie has already established himself as he tells jokes. Tony was going to give me a piano. Mind you, it's my piano. But he put it on the wall, which is behind us. But it was my piano, Charlie, my piano. And then Ronaldo says, well, Charlie, the piano was on the wall because it was too heavy to move and he didn't have any help. I don't know what you all know us, Ronaldo and Charlie. What are you talking about?
They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know art.
They don't know.
They don't know. They don't know turning something into art. They don't know.
They don't know.
They
Because
don't
in the
know.
corner, you can't see it because it's in like a corner over there, is a keyboard, which, I play. I also have a little portable thing too, that I could, carry with me on my thing and play. So I don't know why you all thought you were getting a piano. What is that about?
All right. I guess that's what friends do, I guess.
Yeah.
They lay claim to stuff? Is that it?
Man.
But to the point about friends really quick, I was in the UK last week or the week before last, and I met a women's group there, and we were talking about having a whole panel about how you make friends later in life. We don't really have good networks, good apps, or anything to just have to develop friends. We have friends, Jill and I consider you a friend I've known for 15 years, but just meeting and cultivating new friendships, there's not a lot of infrastructure out there. And as adults, we want to make some new friends. That's an important conversation.
That is very true. I've heard a lot of people say that, especially, everybody knows we're in the Atlanta area, and they say Atlanta is a really hard place to make friends.
I don't.
Although
understand
Kris and
that.
I became friends in Atlanta.
I don't understand. I really don't understand that. I know that people have a hard time, making friends. However, you have to, take a step towards making some friends. You have to. You're not going to make friends just staying home all the time.
Right.
Go do things that you like to do, and there will be like-minded people there.
That's true.
Make a friend.
That's true. That's true.
It's not that difficult.
Right.
To me.
Well, your friend is putting I feel like it's a threat. Don't make me put your business in the streets. Is he talking to me?
I think he's talking to me. I don't know. People don't talk to you like that, Jill.
Oh yeah, I scare people. They don't talk to me like that. I scare people. All right. Well, let's get to our next segment that we call
I'm trying to help you.
Oh yeah.
All right. This is the segment, Kris, where we give advice. I feel like this group really needs advice.
Yeah.
About being a friend or something. I don't know.
Dr. Kris, please tell them something. Help them out, because they need some help bad. I usually don't talk about my audience this way, but tonight they need some help.
Right. Okay. So I think I'm going to give three pieces of advice and we'll see if it's helpful. So the first one, which I already kind of stated, get yourself some friends.
Get
As
yourself
we
some
age,
friends.
we want to try to navigate friendships and not non-romantic nurturing relationships, which I call friends. Get yourself some friends. Number two, because this is a conversation about singles, mostly about singles, one of the things I say at the end of the book, I say, after reading this book, I hope you're just as likely to ask somebody, why are you married, as you are to ask somebody, why are you single? We're always asking single folks to justify our
Ah.
status, but I do think that it would be important for married folks to also justify their status. The cohort talked about going out for like around the holidays. They had to get their whole narrative together. Either everybody should be getting their narrative together or nobody should be getting their narrative together. And the third piece of advice is that one of the things I want us to think critically about is the idea of family. If we think about the Census Bureau's definition of a family is someone that you're related to by blood, marriage, or adoption. Because I am not married and don't have any children, I show up in the data as a household. I don't show up in the data as a family. And I guess I want to just ask the question, should I, Kris Marsh, be able to be defined as a family? And if I, Kris Marsh, cannot be defined as a family of one, can me and my very best friend whose husband died, and I support my goddaughter every single day, can the two of us, the three of us, be considered a family? So I just want you to think critically about the term family and think if it's antiquated or not.
Wow, that's
Hmm.
amazing.
I think those
That's
are four, but I don't know if there was three or four, but you get
That
the
was
gist.
three.
Okay, good.
my brain is getting ready to pop.
That's amazing because you're on your second point. You're right. No one has ever asked me why am I married.
Oh, why are? Oh, yeah. Why?
No one has ever asked me that.
Why? Why?
A couple of it. No, I was just gonna joke. That was gonna be a joke. I was gonna joke and say a couple of people have asked me why I'm married to you.
But not are you married, right?
That's a joke though. Okay, so
Why
more
are
comments
you, why
from
are you married to me, Jill?
because I love you and you make my life better.
That's the canned answer. That's
true.
the
I
answer.
could go
in the
on and on
can.
and on.
You say that all the time.
But you know
But
what?
it's
You know what's
true.
funny? You know what's funny? If I were to say that, I wonder if it would hit the same way. If I were to say, because I love me and I make my life better, I think whenever married folks say anything, it's acceptable. But when single people say it, I think it's challenged. So there's just something to think about. It's like if we were both like at Thanksgiving dinner and I gave that response, I'd be like, but like, why are you really single?
That's right.
That is true. That is true.
And when you're single, your family treats you totally differently.
They do,
They're
and
like,
they want to know like
oh, let Tony
why don't you
do it
have
because
kids?
he doesn't have
You know?
anybody, or
Right.
all of these little slights.
I'm
that
tired
go
of sitting at
on.
the little people table and having my knees in my chest.
Like you sit at the kids' table. Well, she doesn't have anybody. Let Kris sit at the kids' table.
Right. Knees all in my chest. Like, wait a minute.
Are people always trying to fix you up with somebody?
Yes, that too. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, we do still. Charlie and Ronaldo are still commenting.
Okay.
So Ronaldo says, not for the sake of having a friend, be very selective. I do agree about being selective with your friends or
Absolutely.
anybody you surround yourself with. I do agree with that. Do you, Kris?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. And then, of course, Charlie with the jokes. Friends with benefits? I'm asking for a friend.
No, these don't have to be friends. If that's what you want to do, yes, but I wasn't talking about friends with benefits. But if that works for people, I don't police people. You do what you want to do.
Just friends. Friends with benefits complicates things.
Right.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Just
I
asking.
don't know.
How do you know that?
I don't know.
And I'm not sure what
know.
Ronaldo is saying he doesn't understand, but he says he doesn't understand.
anything.
Yes, he does. He does. He knows.
He'll be all right.
And I also, Ronaldo and Charlie, thank you for all your fun comments tonight. I still want to say hi to and thank you for the audience members we've had here tonight. We've had so obviously Ronaldo and Charlie, and also Connie and Todd and Zoeta, who are celebrating, they've been celebrating their 20th anniversary.
Really?
Yes.
Happy
Yes. Which
Happy
is lovely.
anniversary.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
So, Kris, is there an equivalent of that? Some type of celebration of anniversaries for single people?
So there's this whole notion, this whole movement of like single people getting married to themselves, self marriage. But I don't know much about that. I don't write much about that. But single folks we celebrate ourselves every single day. Every day is a celebration.
Cool.
That's why Kris is always fun. Like
Right.
I have never seen you, Kris, when you weren't fun ever.
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Yes,
wonderful.
yes. So again, everybody, Kris's book is called The Love Jones Cohort. The subtitle, which is very important, is Single and Living Alone in the Black Middle Class. Oh, that was what I wanted to ask you about, Kris.
Yes.
So the subtitle is Single and Living Alone in the Black Middle Class. So tonight's comments, just for the Black middle class?
No, my comments resonate or should resonate with everybody. I was in the airport one day and I was talking to this young man. And I was saying like, oh, I wrote this book. You should buy the book. And he's like, I'm married. I don't need the book. I was like, with a smug attitude like that, you might not be married very long. We're gonna have this conversation. So what's interesting about the title single is that we've all held the title at one point in time. So even if you're no longer single now, you can harken back to your single days. So you need to read the book. If you're trying to figure out how to navigate your single friends, you can read the book. You don't have to be Black, you don't have to be single, and you don't have to be middle class to read the book. One of my best compliments that I remember was from a white woman at a library out here in Prince George's County. She was about 40 and her husband was considerably older than her. And she said, I learned so much. And my husband and I put a will and living trust together after reading your book. So the book really should resonate with everybody.
Wow.
And since I have thoroughly read your book, I will agree with that wholeheartedly.
I would like to know what's in their living will.
Right.
I wonder how they navigated that. Like, hey, if you're a vegetable, can I go out and get busy or,
That's their business. I have no
yeah,
idea.
I have no idea.
I was going to say, I don't think Kris asked them that question.
But but they read your book about being single, then they did a living will. So I'm imagining there is some type of connection of what type of life the one that wasn't a vegetable, let's say, would have. Would they want to live a single life while their partner may not recover?
Right.
I don't know.
Tony, I don't know if we can use vegetable. I don't think we're supposed to use that word.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He's never politically correct. Like I'm like doing
Thank
this
you.
on like
Thank
kicking
you for
him.
calling me out on that. Incapacitated?
Yeah, that sounds about, yeah.
A little bit incapacitated?
Yes, that sounds better. We're getting there.
Okay.
I just learned like we learn things, words change and we don't say homeless anymore. We say like unhoused. I just learned that
Unhoused, yeah.
a couple of months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that, because I don't wish to offend anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So we do have some comments for you, Kris.
Yes.
First of all, Charlie. Now he's on a serious note. Happy anniversary from the Really Charlie podcast. Charlie is a podcaster, by the way. He has several shows.
Thanks, Charlie.
And then from Connie, we have two comments. The first is, when you love yourself, life should be awesome every day, or at least every other day. And loving yourself is key.
It really, really, really
I agree.
is. It is. It's so important. I love myself and I take very good care of myself. On a side note, I'm a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar. I came to his catalog late, but I was like, okay, my birthday's August 3rd. Kendrick Lamar is going to be in Rome, Italy. Yes, I'm going to be in Rome, Italy, celebrating my birthday with Kendrick Lamar at a concert in Rome. So yeah.
Cool.
So, speaking of Kendrick, aren't you doing something special related to Kendrick's Super Bowl
Yeah.
performance?
Yeah, so I think that Kendrick's Super Bowl performance was just spectacular. There's so much in it. Students can write whole dissertations on it. And I was just asked to be a deputy editor for a special issue that focuses solely on the Kendrick Lamar halftime show.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
I told you all she's a big deal.
Thought we were joking,
I
see?
told ya.
Thank you.
And then Ronaldo has a comment too. He says, Kris, I was single until I was 49 and happy. Connie and I were able to give each other space and privacy when sitting 3 feet apart. Major factor in our successful marriage.
That's
Yes.
important. Yeah. That's really, really, really important. Because I think, like I said, we have to kind of stand confidently in who we are individually before we add anything unto us, whether that's a non-romantic nurturing relationship, also known as friends, or whether or not that's a partner. You've got to be confident and comfortable with who you are first.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I agree.
Any final words? I forgot to mention that you're a fantastic golfer. You say you're not, but you are.
Oh, I went golfing. I went golfing today, and my God, oh my gosh, everything was connecting and everything was working. One thing I will say, which doesn't really relate to singlehood, but it relates to like kind of really enjoying yourself. These are some tough times that we're living in. And so we always want to kind of check in with ourselves. And so for me, I have my mental health Mondays, and my mantra is I do all the things that I want to do and none of the things that I have to do. If we're adults living in America, I think we all should have a mental health Monday. Now, maybe you don't have the flexibility that I have where I only teach on Tuesday and Thursdays and I can have a mental health Monday, but make sure that you're taking care of yourselves and you're looking after yourself. And I always tell my students, if you give me Monday, let me tie to myself. I will give you the rest of the week, but please do give me Monday. And I've drawn my boundaries with them because my students will call me, text me, and email me and say, Dr. Marsh, on Tuesday, when you read this text message, bet, because I'm not reading it on Monday. So, we've got some interesting times that we're going through. So please check in with yourself and try to find something that you do for yourself.
I love that.
Yeah,
We should all do
That's a
that.
good idea. We should do that.
Well, you can meet me on the golf course on Monday because 9 out of 10 out
Oh,
of 10.
no. No, you're not going to whip my behind all over that golf course.
But we may send Connie to you. Connie's a wonderful golfer too.
Yeah,
So we
Connie,
may send Connie your way.
Connie, go to my social media. I just put up a beautiful slow motion drive off of hole number 11. That thing is beautiful. Please let me know what you think about it.
Whoa, she gonna show it to everybody.
She is.
I'm not gonna look at that. I'm not gonna look at it. No, nope. Get my feelings hurt.
And Connie did comment as you were saying that. She says, I love that mental health Monday. So we will all be trying that. And I'll report back to you how that goes for everybody.
Let me know.
Will do. Well, thank you so much, Kris. This has been fantastic. I love you so much.
Yes.
And I'm happy to do this episode and to get it out there, to spread the word that being single is not a sentence of any kind.
No, not at all. I absolutely love you, admire you, adore you. Anytime you want me to be on the show, just call and I will be there for you. Period.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
so
you. And let
much.
us know when the next time you're in our area, doing a book
Absolutely.
thing or something.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you, Kris.
All right.
We love you.
Love you.
Bye.
All right. Okay. Woohoo. How come we're in so many screens? I guess it's just one.
It's just one.
Guess we're in one
We do have a
screen.
comment, another comment from Ronaldo. Connie has been beating me in golf for how many years? That's a lot of years.
The last time I played golf, it was with Connie and Ronaldo, and Connie beat both of us. Like,
I was
bad.
there. I was driving or
Golf cart.
just hanging out in the
Yeah,
golf cart, which I like.
She whipped our behind.
Yeah, so Connie's been beating Ronaldo in
And
golf
I
for
haven't-
28
I
years,
haven't
and
played
it doesn't
since.
bother him. Make sure you get someone who can take a beating and keep on ticking. I like that. That's good advice, Ronaldo.
Yes, that is very good advice.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you ready to wrap this up? That was a lot of fun. I adore Kris.
Yes, I am ready to wrap this up. Let's get the show. So you're pressing wrong buttons.
I am.
There we go. Now we're getting ready to wrap this show up. Aren't we? Now let me press the right buttons. Okay, there we go. We're ready to go. Hey, remember to check out I'm Right every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can watch that on Facebook and YouTube, and also you can watch it from Jill's website. That's Cox-Cordova.com. So check that out. And after show, anyone? We need your input. If there's some shows you want to hear about, you want to talk about, something you think we should do, let us know. And we'll probably do it. Yes. So, what else have we got left?
That's all for tonight.
All right. So this has been a great show tonight. Audience, I really thank all of you for being here. I thank you for giving us the tip that our audio wasn't working.
Because we would not have known that.
Yeah. So anyway, we got that settled, and turned out to be a great show. So thank you so much, and we're going to see you next week. Same time, same place.
Bye.
See ya. Love you all.